welcome to the Grand Review, the show that's all about movie news and reviews. I'm your host, Cracker in the Night, Garrett Ray, joining me.
More like the Cracker Barrel.
Yeah. Hey, I'm trying to lose the weight. Joining me, it's the King of Sting himself. It's Andy Delia.
Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't have a movie-related one for you.
Nothing vampire-related,
Yeah, I guess I could have said you sucked all the fun out of my intro.
No, I actually made it funnier.
I know, I couldn't say it. It was untrue.
Oh, okay.
And I cannot tell a lie. That would be a sin, Andy. And I don't want to be what the title of this week's movie is. Sinners.
Okay. Yep.
You know? We're talking about Sinners. We're
Yes,
back. Sorry we were
back.
gone for so long. Just real quick, what happened? I got sick as a dog. Could not breathe for days. It was awful. And then life happened after that for 2 more weeks.
Well, okay.
The first 2 weeks is because I was sick. And then you went to
I went to
CinemaCon,
Vegas.
so we'll be talking about that a little bit later. And then the other problem was just that everything kept getting in the way. I had to tear down an entire half of an old mobile home to make room for another one to move on to.
Okay.
And so
that actually sounds like fun.
It is until you get a sunburn that causes you to break out in hives, which I still have, like a week later, and then you realize, oh my gosh, I'm allergic to the thing that actually makes life possible, the sun. Well, so that's cool.
Or to vampires.
Maybe I am one. The sun.
No, we're recording this during the day, so.
Who says I don't have on a lot of SPF?
Or
SPF 1 million.
What's the Tales of the Crypt Bordello of Blood? Their whole thing was sunblock.
Yeah,
so they could walk around in the daylight.
I got so much SPF on you can smell it from across the room. So anyway,
okay.
This week we're talking about Sinners. This is the newest movie from Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan, who seem to have found like just a winning combo. They like working together, obviously. Yep. So this stars Michael B. Jordan and Michael B. Jordan. And then Haley Steinfeld and other people, whatever.
Delroy Lindo. Delroy Lindo was a good standout.
Delroy Lindo's in this. Out of all of the people in this movie, I missed the most of his lines because he has such a deep voice that it almost kind of like...
Right.
And so does... is it Miles Caton who was introduced in this? No, Miles Caton was... he doesn't even have a Wikipedia page.
and then the legendary Buddy Guy that has a great cameo in this.
So Miles Caton is kind of the main character of this, Sammy Preacher Boy Moore, who surprising because he's really not in the trailers and stuff. They sell this movie on Michael B. Jordan, but he, I think, he's the main character. Yeah, he's so good. Yeah, and Mike, that voice, man, when he starts singing, like I was like, I think I can throw away all music. I'm going to go find some soul CDs again because this I love this. Yeah, like he's so good.
Spike Lee even came out and like really publicly praised this film for what Ryan Coogler did and Michael B. Jordan, and just absolutely loved it and loved a couple. And he was in the quote that I had read. He didn't want to give the movie away, but like the whole sequence of the history of like African American music and international music, and you know what scene I'm talking about too. That I just thought was amazing and was very transfixed on everything that was going around, and that scene was just incredible, and I loved how it came off.
So we always start with your thoughts, so I'm guessing you hated it. Sounds like you did not have a good time. Transfixed. I mean, that's a word that starts I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm going to shut up. You talk.
I loved it. Not to mention, it's just a fantastic film. Well shot, well paced. You know, the kind of cliff notes to the history of blues music, which I do like. Yeah. And the performances are good. The special effects were good. This is probably the best vampire film I've seen in at least 10 years. And thank God when the vampires die, they burn up in this thing, not the Twilight garbage that everybody is sold on where they glimmer in. No. That's no.
Yeah, in Twilight, the vampires walk out into the sun, and it is like they walked into a Claire's by accident and then came out right after they'd been like, you want to try a perfume? It's sparkly.
And Haley Steinfeld in this too, who I've always liked too, and she's just even better in this.
Yeah. Haley Steinfeld, and then the Omar Benson Miller as Cornbread. I loved.
Yeah. I loved the one scene where I was laughing, but I was the only person laughing at it. I felt really stupid.
I loved him so much.
He's always he was in 8 Mile, and he's been in a bunch of.
Right, yeah.
He's a B actor in these kind of films, but he's always been really good.
And he's very funny. Like he's always when he's in a movie, it's just like I know there's going to be a great line out of this guy. I forgot he was in Transformers. I
forgot he was in Transformers.
Yeah, he was just Glenn's cousin, but he was in it.
Oh,
it's a well-made movie, just on any front you can imagine. It's one of those things where it's like, this is just outside of a studio film and feels like art while still being consumable.
Right.
And so it's kind of straddling that line.
I mean, it is R-rated for a reason too.
Oh yeah.
There's a couple of standout scenes that I can think of right off the top of my head why it got the R rating, and it's not really just for violence or blood either. There's a couple of sexual scenes in that are
that's
intense.
That's not why it got R-rated. It got R-rated because there's that moment where that woman is breastfeeding her baby, and you can see the top half of the mammary, and it's just that's what the ratings board looks for. I don't know what to tell you.
No, it wasn't the Klansman that got shot up.
No, that's fine. We've all agreed that that's okay.
I was cheering them on during that scene too. I was loving it.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, this is. I give Warner Brothers a lot of credit too, because initially, when I booked this at the theater this week, I booked it for kind of selfish reasons that I really wanted to see it, but wasn't sure how it was going to go over. And be forewarned, if you I read a whole bunch of stuff about this before I saw the film, and everything I've read is it's very much about the blues and the vampires are secondary.
Yeah,
and that's very true. Sure. But it's almost like how George Romero with the zombie films that he made. The zombies in those films are secondary too, and it's more about the conflict between humans. And even like Danny Boyle's 28 Days Later series that's been going on now, it's the same thing. Everybody's kind of copied that from Romero, but has done a really good job with that, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So this is the same thing. If you're expecting vampires from start to finish in this, you might be a little disappointed, but at least sit back, keep an open mind, and relax and just take in everything you're going to see, because it's all just visually just incredible.
Yeah, it's definitely the cinematography is beautiful the whole way through. There's that one scene that you were talking about that you were transfixed with. That's just like a logistics nightmare from filming. I was looking for the cuts and couldn't find them. And it's got some really, really cool stuff in there. Some great VFX. The fact that the first shot where you see Smoke and Stack together, they're handing a cigarette back and forth.
Yeah.
He hands it to him the first time, and then they hand it back, and I was like, okay, now you're showing off. Because the first time I was like, oh, cool. Wait a second. That's the same person. And then the second time I was like, whoa. And then the third time they went to it, they cut right before he touched it again. But I was like, now you're just showing off. You're just showing off. Yes, we get it. You can replace heads. Good for you. But it was so well done. It's fantastic. There is not a single frame where you don't believe he's talking to himself.
Most of the film, though, both of the characters don't appear at the same time. They
use it sparingly,
right? And it's very strategic how those things are plotted throughout the story, but they're also done very well.
Yeah, and it also it serves the purpose of, one, it cuts down on VFX work, but two, it also allows you to see them developed for the audience as a character individually. So you get, it's not just them playing off of each other. It is them as an individual that you connect with in some way, and that makes them stand out as different people. And it's not just that, though. I mean, credit to Michael B. Jordan for his performance. There are similarities between them, but there are subtle differences in how they hold themselves and stuff that really does
their voice,
their voices. Yeah,
their voices are very distinct, and it's two separate intonations and everything in their voice that you can tell the difference between the two characters too.
Yeah. This is something that I don't think he's going to get enough credit for.
No, he's not.
But he deserves
it. Basically, I think people are going to brand this a horror film and just kind of write it off.
Yeah, it's it's got those elements, I guess, but it's not.
It's a lot more than that.
I think so. Yeah.
And it's a lot more intelligent than that too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I also appreciated that, like, there are some moments in here where they are not shying away from, race relations in the 20s and 30s.
No.
But you know what I wasn't in this movie? I was not annoyed by it. Because for once, it was just, here's what it is.
Right.
It wasn't, and here's the commentary on it that you need to know, or you're a bad person.
No, it was just part of the story.
This is what it is, and you could look at it and go, that's wrong.
Yeah.
And then you'd go, but they're dealing with it. Okay, that's not their focus. They're focused on this other stuff, so that's what I'll focus on with them. But there's the undercurrent of it that's always there. So you're not allowed to forget about it because it is a part of their story the whole way through. Mm-hmm. But you're allowed to look at their interpersonal relationships and connect with them as people, which I think actually does a better job of making you, when you get to the end and the clan's getting shot up,
right?
Spoilers, but whatever. You're like, yep, totally with you on this one.
Yeah.
Load another clip, like go for it.
But then we'll save it for spoilers and stuff for the secret scene.
Yeah.
That was definitely worth hanging around for.
It was. I didn't know it was coming. I
didn't either.
I just didn't want to move.
I think we missed another one at the end of the film.
Apparently so, yes. Which is annoying, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we have to go back and watch it again.
Which isn't a bad thing. I could definitely sit through. This is one that I'll probably buy at some point.
Yeah. I want to see this again. I do think there's some moments, and this doesn't spoil anything. There are some moments where there's some shots that are just like, the contrast on them, and I don't know if they shot on film or not, but there are some shots where it's like, that seems very differently graded.
It was shot with IMAX cameras.
Shot with IMAX. Okay, so it'd most likely be on film. I think they have a digital IMAX camera, but this does not look like that. This looks like film.
Right.
But yeah, it's 65 millimeter film using a combination of IMAX 15 perf 70 millimeter and Ultra Panavision 70 millimeter cameras.
Yeah, and the 7.1 soundtrack on that just was really stand out.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it sounds so good.
Yeah,
it's it's great. There is one place where not the theater, but the sound mix let me down on hearing an important line.
We talked about this.
Yeah, we'll get to that, and that is possibly because my ears are broken, but I've never...
My ears are in worse shape than yours.
I've been to 2 concerts basically in my whole life. There's no reason I shouldn't have been able to hear.
Oh, I got you beat.
Oh, I know. But yeah, no, I think if you're looking for a thriller / horror sort of thing, but something that's smarter and something where you're not just going like, okay, this person's going to die like
kind of getting a little bit of a history lesson.
That too. Yeah. It's this has a lot going for it that I think you could say it has merit as a piece of art, and not in the pretentious way.
Way better than the marketing campaign made it seem. I think the marketing campaign did definite injustice to this film.
You know what's funny? So I wonder what your opinion is on this, because I was thinking about that too, and I was like, the marketing is the kind of thing that gets people's butts in seats for this, for a horror movie thing, but it's not exactly what the movie is, at least in the first half.
Right.
But also, I think if you tried to show what it was, it might play a little bit more like a historical drama in a trailer, because it's not that, but it might feel more like that in a trailer, which might have hurt its box office. Mm-hmm. But I don't know how you would get across what this really is in a 2-minute trailer. And that's because cutting trailers is like, it's one of my weak points. So I'm always curious about how,
right?
How would you approach that if you wanted to show more? Of
I guess Warner Brothers felt that they had to market this as a horror film, and Michael P. Jordan or B. Jordan is the main vehicle in this. When like we said, Sammy's character is the main focus of the film. He was never even in the trailer.
Yeah, but he's not marketable because it literally says "and introducing Miles Caton" at the end of the movie. This is his first thing.
I hope he goes on. Like, he could be the next Oh, the Black Panther guy that died, Derek Boseman.
It's not Derek. It's oh my gosh.
I know it's Boseman.
Yeah, it's Boseman. Why can't I remember? Anyway, yeah, I know what you mean. I'm so sorry.
But he could, like, once you make him
Chadwick Boseman.
Chadwick Boseman, like, make him the next Black Panther.
I think he could do a good job of it. Yeah, he really does. Like, he carries a lot of that that emotional weight throughout the film, and he's subtly charming when he talks to Pearline, and he's his reaction to certain things happening is, you feel that he's really feeling that pain. I think he's really good, and my gosh, I already said it, but that voice, man, when he sings, it's crazy. It's what a voice.
I think that was a natural when he started playing guitar in the scene with him and Jordan when they're in the car, and he starts singing, and Jordan almost like breaks his neck, like going back to look at it.
Dude, the reaction he has to him,
I think it was very genuine.
I remember sitting there going, like, that's some of the best acting I've ever seen, because if he's ever heard him sing before and knew what was about to come out of his mouth and still was able to act like he was that shocked, that's incredible acting.
Yeah.
And it's funny that that's like the moment that stands out to me as best acting in the movie, but it is.
I mean, Jordan's a really good actor. I've liked him ever since, like, the first film I ever saw him in was Fruitvale Station. And it's a really good movie. And he's just built upon that over time. The only misstep, I think, that in his career, in my opinion, was Creed 3.
Well, he directed that one, right? That was his directorial debut. I never saw that one. I saw 1 and 2, but I didn't see 3.
Yeah, 3. It's just very predictable, and it's kind of lackluster. Like, 2 was really good. The first one was really good too.
Yeah.
Third, I walked out of the theater. I was like, okay.
It's,
but not to.
We all have some stinkers. Like, I mean, you've heard. I have one every 5 seconds, just opening my mouth. So.
I'm sure because there's another film that he's directing too that's coming out. I just couldn't remember what it was. They talked about it at CinemaCon.
I sure hope it's better.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
You can't blame him for the direction on Creed 3. It was the script. Like, the writing to that, it just wasn't all that great.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a part of me that wants to go see it just to see where that ends up, but then at the same time, I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I have other things I have to do.
Yeah. There's better movies to, like, spend your time on, to be honest.
Yeah. Or I could make money and feed my wife. I probably should do some of that.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. No, I really, though, I do think that if we're going to give this good, bad, great, or terrible as a movie, I've got to give it a great. I mean, it's so much fun, and it is it's just firing on all cylinders.
This is a better version of From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah.
So, like, From Dusk Till Dawn is a Robert Rodriguez film that was done with George Clooney and Quentin Tarantino. Tarantino wrote it. And it's
he did, because he drinks liquor off of someone's foot in the bar. He wrote it.
Salma Hayek.
Yep. Oopsie, forgot to mention that was in the script, but we're going to shoot it today.
Yeah.
Ha ha ha.
So if anybody hasn't seen it, the whole story is Tarantino and Clooney are bank robbers. They're trying to get to Mexico. They have to spend a night in this really dive strip bar till the morning that is inhabited by vampires. And to get to Mexico to get away from everything and live happily ever after. This takes that basic premise and definitely fleshes that and makes a really, really, really good story out of it.
Yeah.
Without even copying it.
Yeah. I wasn't thinking about From Dusk Till Dawn until you mentioned it. But yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's similar, but
it has some similarities. Yeah.
This is the better version.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, like, I like From Dusk Till Dawn. And I
do too.
Before this, my favorite vampire movie was 30 Days of Night. Because I think the vampires in that are so interesting.
That's a good graphic novel too.
Yes, yeah. I've read not the whole thing, but I got through like half of it on my iPad. I think that this is doing something different from that, and the vampires being, they really focus on the connection that they have and all this stuff, and this kind of weird facsimile of Community.
Yeah, I was just about to bring that up. Yeah, like how when they're turning people, it's all about making this one uniformed nation kind of. And
the problem is it's uniformity by conformity.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is very ironic.
You want to get into spoilers?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get into spoilers.
Yeah.
The vampires in this show up about halfway through.
Yeah, about halfway through.
The first half is all about them trying to the Smoke and Stack twins. They're trying to
set up a
juke joint, and they get all these people involved, including Cornbread, who I love.
Yep.
And the Delta Slim, who I also love.
Delroy Lindo.
He's great, and they get all these people. They also have. So they don't really say this specifically in the movie, but the Annie is Smoke's estranged wife. They were actually married. And so he gets her to come cook. And this is where I have to say the part that is going to make me seem like a square.
Okay.
So there's a lot of hoodoo and stuff like that in this movie that for me personally, I'm like,
but it's not predominant. It's very light.
I can't say I agree. I think it's there. Like the whole thing of the whole premise of the movie is based around this idea that the opening voiceover. There are tales of these people who can make music so true that it brings spirits from the past and future together, but it also can attract evil. And I think that kind of falls under that same sort of thing for me, where it's like, it's not, I don't know if I could say he's actively and knowingly performing witchcraft, but Annie definitely does. That's her thing, is she does like charm bags or what did you call them?
But she's wicked for the good.
I prefer Wicked Part 1. So, there is that in there. So that's something that as a viewer, you're kind of sensitive to and you don't like. Then I just think it's worth bringing up.
I didn't mind it.
And I think that as much as I enjoyed the movie, there was still like this, when he does start singing at the Juke Joint and they do this incredible one-er take where you start seeing all these different people from different eras playing with him and all that stuff. Like, it's an incredible score thing. Mm-hmm. Even where it's discordant, it still works.
Yeah.
The camera move is fantastic. The way they're moving people in and out while you're in a different room looking at this happening, and you come back and now that's gone, but this is happening over here.
Yeah, that's the scene that I just couldn't take my eyes away from.
It's mesmerizing. It's so well done. I just couldn't help but have this undercurrent feeling of like, perhaps the director has an understanding of the. I'm trying to see who wrote it. Ryan Coogler wrote it. So he has an understanding of the importance of music and the impact of music, and they're playing around with that idea and doing what I think is a pretty good job of showcasing the effect that it can have on people, but also. This is kind of the worst way that it could happen. I don't think this is a boon that brings healing to the community so much as it is this thing that, like, well, for one, I mean, biblically, we're not supposed to summon spirits. That's like, it's like pretty straightforward about that. But then on the other hand, there's the question of like, well, is doing music evil? And so it's like, it asks those questions. It doesn't really come up with an answer for it. But then at the same time, it does, because if he had never turned away from what his dad was trying to tell him and hadn't gone to the Juke Joint, the vampires wouldn't have shown up. So is music evil? Mm. And I think the movie kind of unintentionally says that it is,
Yeah, but that's gone all throughout history.
Sure, yeah.
That's been a recurring, like, even when Elvis rose to popularity and they had to, on television just show him from the neck up because of the evils of rock and roll.
Are you telling me that watching him full body doesn't get you hot?
No, it doesn't.
Okay, different strokes for different folks. But I'm just kidding. I might cut that out. But I can say this. Elvis was on TV, and then the Vietnam War happened. So I'm just saying stuff, might have an impact. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah, that's not even close.
But I just thought it was an interesting thing while I was watching it, going like, I feel like they're trying to say that his gift to bring community together and all this stuff throughout history in this one moment is a good thing, is a gift. But then at the same time, it's like, but it's kind of what was the onset of the slaughter.
Yeah, but there's always two sides to a coin on every situation. So there has to be a dichotomy for the good. There is a bad.
It's like poetry. It rhymes. Right. The George Lucas approach. Did you hear him say that about episode 3?
I did. But I just, it didn't bother me in any way, shape, or form.
Okay. I think it wasn't necessarily that it bothered me so much as it was that it made me wonder about like my own use of music as entertainment and influence, And I'm just putting it forth as a thought experiment because I think it's interesting. But in this movie, he shouldn't have sang. Just in this situation, it should have.
No, then nobody would hear that tremendous voice that the guy had.
Yes, but they also would have lived.
Some of them did.
You're right. It was worth it. Screw those other people. That's fine.
And at least like one of the brothers.
No, Jessica brought up a good point. She pointed out that voodoo is culturally relevant, and I'm not disagreeing with that. I am saying I think that I don't like it. I think that's all I'm saying.
It's just Garrett being a prude.
Yes. We know this about me. Except for when it comes to Elvis dancing, I'm a prude.
Yeah, because I listen to stuff that would make you turn whiter than you already are.
Yeah, probably. And that's a feat. That's saying something, because the places where I'm not sunburnt, whoo, boy, you could blind a deer at night with some headlights. What?
Anyway, to do some editing on this one.
Yeah, probably. But I think that it's just something to be aware of if it's something that you are trying to say, like, hey, I prefer not to engage with this thing. But that being said, if you're okay with that being in there, then you're going to have a fun time.
Let's put it this way, too. The crowd for The Chosen is not going to be going to see this.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah, I think you got yourself a good point there.
Yeah.
Sorry for the Mississippi accent. It just came out.
This is definitely, and what the scene that I laughed at that I thought was awesome. Cornbread being the bouncer to this Juke Joint, and then the guy and his wife, I think, come up and he's like, "Hey, you got my $2?"
Yeah, he grabs the starting to beat him up because of $2.
I just thought that was the funniest thing ever.
The thing that cracked me up the most in this movie was when the 3 vampires show up. They all have this conversation, and they're like,
playing
he's
like the corniest white people music ever.
It's the worst. And then, and then once they walk away, Cornbread goes, "Man, they gave me the creeps." And Slim says, "Yeah, crackers at night will do that." And I just thought that was the funniest thing I'd ever heard.
See, but that's so good. That's what we're talking about here. Is another good point about this film is that there's moments of comedy in this dark film that work very well and keep the movie going.
Yeah. It really, it's not like stuck in this one somber tone the whole time. And for some movies that's a good thing. Like that's what's important for the story. But I think that levity lets you really kind of have fun with the characters.
Enjoy the movie,
which makes you sad when they go. You know? Who all did we lose? Cornbread, rest in peace.
Everybody.
Slim, rest in peace.
The only person that didn't die from the vampires was Smoke.
Yeah, Smoke. And he died because of racism.
Yeah.
So that sucks too.
Yeah, but he took them all out on his way out.
That's true. Yeah. I love
that was awesome.
I love that he doesn't finish off the Grand Dragon, and he just kind of falls down, and he's having this moment with his estranged wife from across the veil of life and death.
Death is coming.
Yeah, death is coming, and he's finally going to have this moment with his daughter, and the guy goes, "I got money," and he just goes, all right, fine, I'm going to kill you. And
just riddled with bullets.
This is, I think, the bloodiest movie we've ever watched together. Like, as far as just...
Well, it's not the bloodiest I've ever seen.
No,
it's just the bloodiest that we've seen together.
As far as what we've seen together, by cubic volume, this is the most real blood I've ever seen. And by real, I mean, like squibs and stuff. But my goodness, when someone gets bit or shot or whatever, it gushes.
Yeah, it's pretty graphic.
The funny thing is, though, it doesn't seem excessive. And it's not like for shock's sake. It's just like, oh, there was a lot of pressure in there and the blood is coming out.
Yeah.
And that's horrifying. And it's because it's not so over the top that you're going, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, because even Jessica didn't like flinch that much during this. And normally stuff like that, she turns away real fast.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, because like when we saw Warfare a couple of weeks ago, there's the part where the tank gets blown up and you just see body parts everywhere. Ooh. And she had to turn away because it was pretty graphic.
Was that a leg?
or like the part in the monkey. One of the best like body gags.
The best. Just throwing a mannequin leg and being like, yeah, that's what we're keeping it in the movie. It's great.
Yeah.
They do a good job of building up these characters and going through. And I do wonder, the only time where I felt like the pacing was a little off with the movie was when and I understand why they did it, but they do this kind of like montage thing of them getting ready to face the vampires while Annie's kind of giving them the information. And that is the most efficient way to get through that. But it just felt like everything else was so character motivated that this one moment wasn't.
The part that I thought dragged a little bit was the part where they're all doing like the vampires are doing the Irish jig outside.
I wondered the same thing in the moment.
But it was supposed. It was to show the community,
and
the communal spirit, and how everything was being shared among all these victims.
Right, these people who just turned tonight, and now they all know the song and dance.
Right, but it just seemed like I understand why you're doing this, but it dragged on maybe like 3 or 4 minutes, a little too long.
Interesting. Okay, yeah,
but
it does go on for a while. You're right.
That was my only complaint.
I think maybe if they had.
And it's not even really a complaint. It's just something different that I wasn't expecting.
Yeah. I know how... One thing I try to not do on this show is just complain about something without having like an alternative.
No, really?
What? Do I not do that? I try to be constructive.
Yes, no, you do that.
Yeah, you said do. Anyway, so I think you could have solved both of those scenes' problems at the same time.
Okay.
Because if they're getting ready and Annie's giving them instructions while that's going on outside, just and she keeps trying to pull their attention into what they need to do, but they're all mesmerized by what this thing is outside and how confusing this is that they're all singing an Irish jig. I think that maybe you could have combined those two scenes into something that would maybe make it where that doesn't drag on as long and this doesn't fly by so fast.
Right.
And you can kind of go back and forth between it and connect the people inside being confused and what is this, and Annie trying to give them the information that they need, so it's not montage. Mm-hmm. That's my idea.
Okay,
I don't know if that'd be better, but I just think it's a thought. That's fun.
Go tell Ryan Coogler that. See what he says.
No. He won't listen to me.
Well, he wasn't even in cinema cut. Like they showed us about 20-25 minutes of this film. So I knew what to expect even before going into it, because they showed a good part of like the whole blues stuff. And then, the vampires they showed maybe like 5 minutes of. And even he did an introduction. He wasn't there, but he shot this introduction saying like, this is my love note to this music that I love. And I wish everybody else had an appreciation for. And this is really what I made this film for.
Yeah.
And you can tell. And that was... Music for me kind of solves like all the problems in the way, because it's helped me throughout my life a lot.
Yeah.
So hearing that, and then like I said, seeing Buddy Guy at the end of that film was just incredible, because I've actually gotten to see him live once.
Oh, have you really?
Yeah. And it's just an impressive concert.
Yeah. It's why that brings up the secret scene sort of towards the end. So all of this stuff happens. Smoke dies. Stack maybe dies, but doesn't really. Runs off with Haley Steinfeld, which who can blame him? And then everyone else is dead except them and Sammy. Sammy goes back to his dad and walks into the church, and there's this whole thing where he's telling him abandon Drop the guitar, son.
Right.
Drop the guitar. Come to God with repentance.
Right.
And then it cuts forward, to the 90s.
Right.
And Sammy is now this, he runs a place called Perlene's where and he's got all these records and he's done all this stuff. Can you, because I'm confused, genuinely. Why wouldn't he drop the guitar?
Because he had a love for the music and he didn't want to let it go.
But it killed everybody.
He didn't want to let it go.
That seems kind of selfish.
He made a fortune off of it, didn't he?
Well, fortunes can be selfish.
Well,
like I don't know. I guess I was just looking at it. Was like, this thing brought on. But I think the reason I was confused about it is because there was something that Slim had said to him earlier that I had missed.
And I didn't understand what he said either because of his. And Delroy Lindo's done that. Even in his character in Malcolm X is kind of like that. I kind of have to have subtitles when he talks.
I'd love to see all of his scenes again with subtitles because I know there's several funny things I missed. And look, I'm fully aware that's probably because I am white. like not the color of my skin. I mean, I'm a white person. I don't, it's not. I'm not super. I haven't spent a lot of time around some of those different intonations to catch
to understand it. Right.
And I'm absolutely not saying like, oh, they talk wrong and blah 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 blah. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I don't understand everyone's accents all the time. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think he said something while Sammy was talking about it was my fault. I could have stopped this. And Slim tried to tell him, no, this is not your fault. Uh-huh. And then I think that theme was repeated a little bit later with Sammy saying like, this is, the music brought them here because the Rinnick, I think his name is, he says, we came here for Sammy. We heard you sing. And Slim says something to him that I think is right before Slim dies. He says something like, don't you ever drop that or something like that. Something like that. I don't know exactly.
Okay.
But I think that's...
So we just have to go back and watch it again.
I guess so. Oh no, we might have to have a good time twice.
I know.
So I think that's probably why I was confused by that. I was like, but everyone died.
But that secret scene is effective because, you see Sammy playing in the blues club and, he's having a drink and who walks through the door?
It's Stack.
Stack and Haley Steinfeld.
Mary is her name.
Who you think has been killed and dead. And surprise, they're not. And they give him the offer that because he sniffs him and goes, it doesn't seem like you got much time left. You want to extend that? And he thinks about it.
And he says, like, no. I think I've seen enough of this place. I was like, Earth sucks.
But then, so do you know what this scene is like after the credits?
I don't.
I don't either. I know. I just read that there were two secret scenes, and that was the main one that we saw seemed to be the most important to me. So, and I didn't think there was another one after that.
Yeah, I think there's just the final post-credit scene. Post-credit scene shows young Sammy back in his father's church singing "This Little Light of Mine."
Oh, so it's not that important.
But it might be.
Honestly, what is he taking stuff from the MCU? Because like the secret scenes that we've seen in the MCU,
Sammy will return in "This Little Light of Mine." No, I wonder if that's like, okay, I'm going to go full conspiracy theory here.
Okay.
Is it possible that Rennick says it at some point when he's about to turn Sammy, he says, he starts saying the Lord's Prayer, and Rennick starts saying it back to him. Yeah. And he says, the men that I grew up with, beat this into my head. I hated them, but the words still bring me comfort. And I think you could connect that back to showing a very young Sammy playing This Little Light of Mine as this is where all this starts because of religion. I know that seems really, really like,
I think that's reaching a little bit.
It's a bit of a jump, but I also wouldn't. I also don't think it's 100% crazy.
Okay.
It's a bit of a jump.
You're entitled to your opinion.
But,
I'm not going to say you're wrong.
But they do make a big point out of that during the moment where Sammy's about to get turned. And I was trying to figure out why. And look, there are plenty of people who use religion as a justification for evil things. So there is that.
Yeah, and they were all in my theater yesterday.
Yeah, sorry. But, you know, I don't know. It's one of those things. It's like, I know sometimes maybe I'm too over analyzing, but then other times maybe we're not analyzing enough. I don't know.
I'm curious. I'll have to look and see if there's any articles online that kind of extrapolate on that.
Yeah. Are they looking at the church in the black community as a cultural thing, like they're looking at hoodoo?
Well,
or is there a certain viewpoint towards it that's being projected?
That's the dichotomy of the situation too. For as much voodoo that is in this too, they do show the community and the church and, you know, Sammy's dad. And it's at the very beginning of the film, even though it's really the end of the film and told in flashback. Right, yeah. But there is two separate ends of that I think they showed equally.
Well, they show it equally, but there's the difference in how they show it is that the person with the hoodoo knows how to defeat evil, but when someone turns to God in that last moment, it means nothing. If the vampire is not put off, this embodiment of evil, right? If it's not put off by the presence of God and someone trying to be with God, then God has no power here because he can speak the same words and it means nothing. It's just words.
They really didn't even show that. Like they didn't bust out any crosses or anything either when they're trying to fend them off in the Juke Joint.
Right, but
which normally is the mythology of that.
Yes, yeah. But they do show that Smoke doesn't die until he takes off the
juju bag.
The juju bag.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like there is an implication there that this is more useful than this because one protects you from evil and the other doesn't mean anything. And I know I'm probably sound like a squire, but I'm
not going to say that. You're, like I said, you're entitled to your own opinion. I have a different viewpoint on that than you do.
Well, just that it's showed equally? Is that what you mean?
That's it.
But in what light is it shown?
It doesn't have to go that deep, honestly. Well, and I didn't look at it that closely either.
I don't know how it can't go that deep when you bring it in.
I don't
know. I was just...
okay.
Andy just gave me the look like, leave me alone about this.
Fair enough. You're going to make me not like this film now. You know that, right?
Oh, I still like the movie.
Okay, good.
I'm just saying that maybe it says something that I don't think I can get on board with.
Oh,
but that doesn't make it not fun.
That's fine.
You know, you can... I think that there's totally an argument to be made that something can be fun and wrong. You know, like... It happens. But anyway, so other than that, beautiful cinematography. The sound design is fantastic.
Yeah.
Everyone who sings in this actually is good.
Yeah.
Like there's no, and funny enough, I don't think Mary ever sings, but Haley Steinfeld is a musician.
Really?
Yeah. She has songs and I've heard some of that. She's really good.
I didn't know that.
She can sing.
I just always see her from like the True Grit remake.
The what?
The True Grit remake.
Oh, right. Yes. Yeah. Sorry. I heard I heard Rugerit, and I was like, well, I don't know what that is.
No, the True Grit, like that was the first thing I think she did that was big.
So good in that.
Yeah, and it definitely made the film.
Yes. Yeah. And she also is the best part of the Hawkeye series. Like
I like the Hawkeye series.
I like the whole thing, but she's really good.
Yeah,
you know,
she is.
I was kind of caught off guard by. Again, going to sound like a square, but the women are more vulgar than the men in this movie. And I was just like, I did not expect that to come out of young Hawkeye's mouth. I know you're an adult. I get it.
That scene at the train station.
The scene at the train station. And then you rob trains and banks, but you can't rob this for a night. I was like... I mean, if my wife said that to me, I wouldn't complain. But you maybe tone it down. You guys aren't married.
Well, Hannah hasn't said anything in front of us like that. So.
No, she's not a potty mouth. So it's me. I'm the problem.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that's the same thing in me and my wife's relationship too. So
all right. Well, you and I, brothers in sin.
Yes, definitely.
Anything else you wanna bring up from the movie?
No, just go see it.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it already, go see it.
It's very good.
Worth it. Like, even if you're not a horror film fanatic, it's definitely just worth seeing in
just
general.
for the music. Yeah. Even and I have one more thing I wanted to point out that I leaned over to Hannah and was like, I really appreciate this about it. When Smoke gets into town for the first time with his truck, and he calls the little girl over to watch the truck for him. The first thing he asks her is, "Can you tell time?" And I thought, what a subtle way to like point out like that there are people who would have been in this community that would not have learned that, would never have been taught these things that we all take for granted. It was historically accurate, and the way that it just bringing that up and that being part of the conversation, really does break your heart for people who are not given the same opportunity as others. And I think that's something that I really appreciated about it. And it was subtle, but it was part of it, and it was acknowledging it, but it also wasn't like, he didn't turn to the camera and go, "That's because of the poor education system in the 1920s." I'm like, I get it, and it doesn't do that.
All this really is to Ryan Coogler's credit that, at least it's not like Spike Lee, where some of his Spike's films are really good and some of them are just like, ugh, really? And I really hope that Ryan Coogler like builds on this, and I'm curious to see what his next project will be.
Yeah, me too.
And
I've liked everything he's made so far.
Yeah, so have I. So. And I just think he's a fantastic filmmaker.
He really is. And, the cinematography and the choices to do these certain scenes the way they did them, you have a cinematographer, but the look of the film is worked on between the director and the cinematographer.
And just the black and the reds, predominantly throughout the entire film, just the color scheme and everything. Just
great color usage. It's so good the whole way through. And Ludwig Göransson's score, fantastic.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Go see it.
It's really good. All right, you want to get into the Internet Movie of the Week?
Sure.
I don't have one.
Oh. Neither do I, because I still haven't seen the Gorge.
Oh, yeah.
The last one I saw was like Drew's favorite film recently, that robot thing that I hated.
Oh, the Electric State?
Yeah, we already talked about that, so I'm not going back to that again.
Wow, this is a great segment. We're really good at doing it. All right, let's move on to the news. So, Andy, you went off to CinemaCon, and you have seen a movie. Would you like to talk about that? Can you talk about that?
Oh, yeah, I can talk about it.
You've seen a full film.
So, I was kind of disappointed. It was like only one film that we got to see.
Yeah, a bunch of cowards. Show us what you have.
Because the first year I went to CinemaCon, which is like 14 years ago now, I saw like 4 or 5 films when I was there. And the last couple of times that I've gone, it's been like one movie. Or last year when I went, there were 2, one of which that just looked so god awful that I was like, no, I'm not even wasting my time with it. And it was a movie called Babes, and is now in like the $4.99 bin for like Apple, which it just sounded horrible. But the one I can't think of. No, last year was The Fall Guy. We saw Fall Guy early. So this year we got to see How to Train Your Dragon. And the reaction was so strong from the crowd for it, they already greenlit the sequel.
Wait, they did?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So 2027 will be How to Train Your Dragon, because how that day lined up is like 10 o'clock in the morning was the screening. And then 4 o'clock in the afternoon was the Universal presentation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So one of the first things they did was bring out everybody that they had in the morning for the screening and say, yeah, because like everybody loved it and we got applause and everybody was cheering and laughing throughout the entire film, 2027 will be How to Train Your Dragon 2.
Jeez.
And like as soon as CinemaCon's over, I guess they're going to fly out and start making that one, because it was really good. Like I really did enjoy that.
Yeah.
And not to poke the bear with Disney, who should take some notes from this, they didn't change anything. Really,
Now, hold on. You're telling me you can tell a fictional story without putting more new crap in it, and people will like it?
And making it woke.
Now, why would you say something so ridiculous?
Because Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Need I say more?
I believe that was a success, was it not?
No,
it must have
been. Really?
Yeah, Disney's stupid.
I saw it and you didn't.
I'm very sorry for that, by the way. If I had not gotten sick, I would have been there.
No, you're probably better off not seeing it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm not sorry for me. I'm sorry for you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry you had to do that alone.
That's 2 Disney films you've dodged a bullet on, because I had to watch Mufasa and you didn't see that. And then I had to watch Snow White and the Seven Dwarves.
It really seems like I'm doing it on purpose, but I swear on my mother's life, I'm not.
Because I really wanted to do Alto Nights that week, and I ended up seeing that anyway, which was really good.
Yeah, I'm glad you got to see Alto Nights.
Yeah, but the problem, nobody went to see that.
Yeah.
Like, nobody. That film was out of there so fast.
Who's a better twins? Is it Michael B. Jordan or Robert De Niro?
Michael B. Jordan.
Really?
I mean, I did like the stuff that Alto Nights did. I liked the story. It was historically accurate. And it's not meant to be a shoot 'em up. It's definitely a drama.
Yeah.
But it really just got overlooked, and I don't know why. Maybe because it's not a shoot 'em up mob film. It's more talking than anything else.
I mean, they did kind of market it more as a shoot 'em up, like, you don't know what he's going to do. You know, how do you know what he's going to do?
But it's all these scenes with intense dialogue more than gunplay. And I can appreciate, I like that a little bit more sometimes than I do the gunplay.
I mean, I love it. I love a good gunshot sound. You've heard me talk about it, but I also love great dialogue.
There are a couple of scenes like that in the film, but it's not the entire film.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it's more about. Is it more about the plotting and the interpersonal battle?
Yes.
Yeah, I think if people. Here's the thing. All right, I'm gonna go full conspiracy theorist again.
Oh, jeez.
Here it goes, Andy. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
People are dumb. People are dumb and they can't understand that an interpersonal battle and people talking can be just as interesting, because a mental battle is where all battles begin and end. They do not end with the fists. They end with where you can think about putting your fist.
But then if you go back to a film like Bugsy with Warren Beatty and Annette Bening, that's about Bugsy Siegel in the beginnings of Las Vegas, it's almost the same thing. There's not a whole lot of shooting and gunfire. It's all drama and talking. But that film did really well. But that,
When did that come out?
Early 90s.
People are dumber now.
Because I was an assistant manager in a theater that played it, and that film did really well. It was right before Christmas that year.
Yeah.
But this, Alto Nights did get moved around quite a bit, just because Warner Brothers really, I don't think, knew what to do with it or when to put it out, and they just kind of threw it out there. But Warner Brothers right now is raking in the bucks because of a Minecraft movie. But anyway, go back to How to Train Your Dragon. Really good.
Yeah.
Like, I can't wait to talk about it when we actually, because I want to see it again.
Really?
Yeah.
For a kid's movie, that is high praise for you.
I like the story from the original, original cartoons, I just think are really good.
Yeah.
They're heartfelt stories. I like the casting in this. Even everybody gave it a lot of crap initially because of who they casted as Astrid. I like that girl. I think she's pretty good.
Yeah, if she's good, she's good. I don't care.
And the kid that plays Hiccup from Black Phone, he's really good. Mm-hmm. And, of course, they bring out Gerard Butler from the same character that he did in the cartoon, which works perfectly. And then the other guy that had the removable hands and stuff that trains.
Gobber.
Yeah. So that's Nick Frost plays him in the film. And I absolutely love him to begin with. So
honestly, I'm still kind of shocked they didn't just get the original actor to come do it.
Oh, the guy,
Craig Ferguson. Craig
Ferguson.
Yeah. He's funny. I love him.
From what I understand, he didn't want to do it.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
And I don't understand, what is he doing now? His late night show is not even on the air anymore.
Maybe he's taking a break.
Oh, come on. But
maybe he has bonitis and can't walk.
the dragons look exactly as they did in the cartoon.
Yes. Yeah, I did see that.
And just it's really, really good.
I am excited to see those designs, interacting and I know I'm going to be really heavily focused, whether I like it or not. I'm going to be looking at how they interact with the real world and shadow masks and all this stuff, and I'm just very excited to see how well that's
done very well.
I mean, DreamWorks knows how to animate. There's no doubt about that.
I just hope they don't follow the Disney trap in that respect too, where they just go back and restart all these DreamWorks films and making them live action.
What would be the worst live action DreamWorks film?
Dogman.
Yeah. Wow, that was fast. All right. They didn't have to think about it. You know what I want? I want a live action G-Force.
It was live action.
I want Nick Cage on screen dressed as a mole. Make him you can do the shrinky down thing, but they need to be in little costumes. That I would.
No.
Are you telling me that wouldn't be hilarious?
It would be, but nobody would watch it.
I think
you're the only one, Garrett.
No, I dragged you to it.
Oh, okay. So that's two of us out of how many people?
That's double what you said, so I'm doing pretty good here. What else did you see little bits of out in cinema?
So Lionsgate, of course, their big thing is Ballerina, which initially they were supposed to screen the film and they didn't, and I was kind of annoyed with them.
Yeah.
They showed us about 20 minutes of the film, and it does look everything like we want it to be.
Good.
Anna Damaris was there. Our CFO walked right by her and had no idea who she was. And I was like...
And you missed your chance.
You got to be kidding me. I almost got my picture taken with Edgar Wright.
Almost.
And then his assistant came in. He has to go. And I sat there. He was talking to somebody. I was very patient and professional and waited. And next thing you know, she just dragged him out of me getting a picture.
He's got to go right now. And you're like, but I waited.
But I waited. That's honestly, that's how I was because... his films are iconic to me. Shaun of the Dead, the Cornetto trilogy.
Man, good stuff.
So his film that Paramount has coming out for November is The Running Man. So that's it. I don't really want to call it a remake. It's because it goes back to the original source material. The one that was done to Schwarzenegger in 87 really just takes the basic premise of the film and makes their own story out of it. It is not what the book is at all. What they showed us, which was quite a bit actually, looks exactly like the book. And it's got Glenn Powell playing the main character. And the stuff that they showed just looked like they had a lot of fun making that film. And of course, with Edgar Wright behind it, I'm fully all they had to show me was a minute and that'd have been fine. But, they showed a lot of that. Paramount slate, Running Man was a big thing. SpongeBob SquarePants, new movie for Christmas.
Don't care. I don't want to sound like a jerk, but I could not care even in a small iota, if my own life depended on it, about another SpongeBob SquarePants movie.
So, Disney, of course, they had, first look at Tron Ares and Jeff Bridges was there. Yeah, and the hairs on my neck stood on end.
Okay.
And that's
Tron Legacy is so good.
Yeah, and they do have... They just showed a very little bit of it, and I do have the trailer playing on screen at the theater right now in a couple of movies. It doesn't come out till October. I'm super psyched that Nine Inch Nails is doing the music for it. So
that's right. I forgot about that.
So I can't wait for that film. The only stumbling block I have with it is Jared Leto because I'm not a fan. But it's Tron. And this one, the war spills over into reality.
I mean, to be fair, Jared Leto didn't ruin Blade Runner 2049 entirely. No. So,
Denis Villeneuve did a fantastic job with that.
Of minimizing how much time he had on screen.
Yeah, I do like that movie. Because it just reminds me a lot of the Ridley Scott one.
Yeah. I really like Blade Runner 2049. I honestly like it better than the original one.
And then this is the one they showed us about 10 minutes of Predator Badlands.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. And
he's good?
He's good.
He's good. Okay.
So they're spinning this one. The Predator is a good guy. And Elle Fanning is in it. And she looks like she plays some kind of android robot in it. It's hard to tell.
Okay.
And there's
I like Elle Fanning. She's good.
So it's on another planet, and there is something out there much worse than the predator that they are trying to take on.
Harvey Weinstein.
Well, I'm not going to go there. There's a couple of things I could say to that. But, the Bruce Springsteen movie looks good. I can't remember the name of it, but I like the guy that's playing him, and I know you have a completely different take on that.
I just don't think I can stand to watch another self-important musician talk about how wonderful they are.
It's about the making of Nebraska, and I do like that Springsteen album, so I'm definitely going to see it.
Yeah.
And I'm a sucker for like those kind of biopics like that. But then like Disney also has Zootopia 2 coming out, which looks incredible.
Yeah.
And that's going to be
Zootopia is very good. Aside from all the weird drawings people did after they watched the movie. That's just proven to me that the internet was a mistake. But other than that, Zootopia is great.
Yeah. It's just funny that Universal's presentation, like it was almost all sequels. Because it's, the new Jurassic World.
Yep.
The second part of Wicked, which now they're going to introduce the Dorothy, the Tin Man. So we're going to see that in the second film. And how the second part of this is blended in with the Wizard of Oz.
Got it. Right. Sorry, I heard Wicked, but my brain went back to the Disney Return to Oz movie for some reason. I was like, the Tin Man was already in there, but he wasn't right. Something was wrong with that guy.
Bulk's first role.
That was...
that could
have been his last. With how that movie went. Her last.
Yeah, that's
I'm not very bright.
That's a strange movie.
Who did? I watched a whole documentary on the behind the scenes of that. It's a comedy of errors and mistakes and people trying to do something different to differentiate, but also trying to connect it. But it's completely insane.
Yeah,
it is. And like, the Oz books are insane. But it's horrifying, is what it is. You could watch Sinners and go, this is a horror movie, but if you watch Return to Oz, you go, I now wish for death because it's the only release from the knowledge of this film. It's so horrifying to look at it every moment.
And then, the rest of Universal stuff is, Black Phone 2, Five Nights at Freddy's 2. There's only I think one original film that they have coming out, and that's him, which you saw the trailer for on Sinners, which I had to put on there. Because I was curious to see what people's reaction to that, because they showed us a lot more than what you saw the other night.
Yeah.
And I was tilting my head to the side and kind of scratching it, going, this looks really bizarre, but I'm interested.
Yeah, me too.
And especially with Jordan Peele producing it.
Is he not directing?
No, it's another guy directing. He's just producing it.
Okay.
But it looks like the dark side of football and what fame and all that can do to you, especially when you're being taught by your mentor who is not who you think he is at all.
Sure, yeah.
So there's
could potentially even be a cult leader.
No, or it's not going to be that. But there's all these David Lynchian flashes in that trailer that really don't make sense, and I think that's done on purpose.
Oh, absolutely. It's a trailer that makes you go, what?
Yeah.
Well, now I got to go see to find out. It does that perfectly.
And then the standout in Bad Guys 2 for Universal, which I'm already excited for that. I don't need to see anything. I'll go see that regardless. And then Paramount, the standout for that, I think, was seeing the first stuff for The Naked Gun.
Yes.
Which I was when I first heard they were doing a remake and doing it with Liam Neeson, I was like, really? I'm like, who thought this was a good idea? But then the stuff that they showed, the teaser trailer that's online right now is only the tip of the iceberg. I like the fact that it's Frank Drebin's son.
Yes.
So it's not...
they're not trying to say this is Leslie Nielsen's character.
Right, so this is going to be a Naked Gun for a new generation, and it looks really funny.
The little girl pulling off her mask, and it's even kind of almost janky CGI too, which makes it funnier.
Right.
And I think Akiva Goldsman, the director, has a very good eye for that stuff.
Yeah.
And so I think this will be funny. Do I think I'll walk away feeling dirtier with this one than the original? Probably.
Yeah.
And that's saying something considering that there's a joke about having safe sex in that has them wearing full body condoms with arm.
Yeah. And then this one too, like the female Priscilla Presley is Pam Anderson.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. So it's not like she's making fun of herself too.
Yeah.
And the whole thing at the end of that teaser trailer with the Nordberg.
I was kind of on the fence about most of the stuff in the middle of the trailer until they get to that scene, and then it's like it just shows Nordberg and his son going like, no. It's so good, and acknowledging that part of history of the franchise is fantastic.
Right.
Like it's but it acknowledges it in the way that they would have. It's in that same spirit.
Right.
And O.J. Simpson sucked. I'm gonna say it. Look, I know it's controversial, but
and then another thing that
full conspiracy theorist mode, Andy. I'm gonna go there one more time.
Okay.
I think O.J. did it.
Well, duh.
The courts don't think so.
Well,
I'm just saying.
They were
saying
wrong.
maybe justice isn't just all the time.
Lionsgate has another one coming out with Mark Hamill. Came out twice. Once for the SpongeBob film because he's the voice of the bad guy in that. And then there's a film coming out that they're Lionsgate's putting out called The Long Walk. This is another Stephen King adaptation that was done as Richard Bachman, just like The Running Man was. And it's very teen dystopian, so it's kind of like the Hunger Games vibe.
Okay.
So the basic story to it is it's these teenage boys that sign up for the Long Walk, which is a competition where they have to walk at a certain pace, and it's just until there's only one kid remaining. And if you fall below a certain speed, you're executed on sight, and you keep going.
Wait, the other people keep going, right? Not the person executed.
Yeah.
Okay, just make it sure.
So it's literally just a trail of bodies until one person is left.
Well, at least you can find your way back home afterwards. Because there's
and then Mark Hamill's
so
the bad guy in this that wears like sunglasses in the entire film. And it looks it's intense.
Okay.
We got to see an extended look of Superman, which I still think looks really good. We saw the first 10 minutes of F1. That
I'm excited for
I was
F1.
just like, just show the rest of the film now, please.
Right, yeah, just give us the rest.
Just let me see it.
Or like we haven't put his face on the real driver of the car throughout the whole movie yet. So that's why it would be confusing. You wouldn't be seeing Brad Pitt, you'd be seeing an actual driver.
Right. So the first 10 minutes of it really is just Brad Pitt driving in Daytona, and then at the end of it, he's washing his clothes in the laundromat, and Javier Bardem comes up to him to recruit him for this team for Formula One, and that's where it.
Okay,
that's where it ended.
I really love the stuff we've seen in the trailer where the camera's like looking forward and spins around, but it's all mounted on the car, and like they're still finding new ways to shoot a race, and I think that's really cool.
I'm not big on racing films. Like I hate NASCAR with a passion.
Well, that's not racing. That's just where am I going again? I guess I'll turn left.
I mean, it's
no race. NASCAR actually is super dangerous, but it is boring to watch.
It is, yeah. But this, it's the same guy that directed Top Gun Maverick.
Yes.
And I thought he'd be like an older guy. When they brought him out, he looked like your age. And I was like,
what a young buck.
Yeah. And I was like, man, because I don't like the original Top Gun. I think it's way overhyped and way overrated. I don't think it's a great film at all.
Yeah.
But yet the second one, I really like.
It's good.
So that's a credit to that director, and the writer for that is as well.
Yeah.
And then he's the guy behind F1 too. So I'm
jazzed.
Like this summer is just going to be, we need to build like 3 more auditoriums at the theater to like match everything.
Maybe what we can do is just cut the screen in half and project 2 smaller movies.
And then even, like Megan 2.0 coming out, really, it doesn't look that bad.
I think it's going to be fun. I like the first Megan.
I did too.
It was dumb, but it's dumb fun.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Neon has one with, the guy that played Loki in it, and I can't remember. It's another Stephen King story too, that looks amazingly good. And then the one that people were turning away from together with David Franco and his real life girlfriend.
Oh yes,
and the codependent relationship, and the trailer or what they showed us in the actual trailer that's online is very different, and it's eye catching to say the least.
I've heard weird stuff about it so far.
Yeah, so and I'm already like, we need to play that, and I got some strange looks from some of the people that I work with.
You're a man who's expanding people's horizons. Unfortunately, it's sometimes against their will.
Hey, we've done like some of these smaller films that we've gotten lately, like. Unfortunately, Warfare didn't do what I had hoped it would, but I think the fact that I had to put it in a smaller theater with no recliners,
right?
Like very limited people coming to see the film, and it's another one that I've gotten to see recently. I really enjoyed it. It's a hard film to watch.
Yeah,
like it's not easy at all.
I love those kinds of movies.
Yeah,
honestly,
and Alex Garland, like yes, definitely.
It's funny. I love something that makes me face something. I hate something that preaches at me about it.
Yeah.
Which is ironic given the things I say on the show.
And then, of course, Sony had they had Tom Holland do a real brief introduction because they are starting to shoot Spider-Man Brand New Day, which comes out July 31st, 26.
They're getting rid of the no more home stuff. They're like, we ran out. We used 3. That was all the ideas we had.
And then 28 years later, so extended. And then there's one coming out in January, 28 years later, Bone Palace.
Bone Palace.
That looks just as interesting. And they just showed us stills from it. They don't have... It's a different director than Danny Boyle, who's doing the one coming out this summer.
Right.
But it still looks very interesting. And 28 years later, I'm definitely like, I love the first 2 films. I think they're great zombie films.
I need to watch those.
Yeah, you do. Those are good.
I need to watch those. Also, it'd be interesting to see 28 years later because shot on iPhones with giant freaking lenses, but shot on iPhones nonetheless.
Danny Boyle was there and did it. And then the big thing that Sony announced is 4 consecutive Beatles films, and they announced who like every Beatle was on the same day. So I think it's April of 2027. There are 4 Beatles films, and each of them is told from the point of view of each of the members of the band. And I know I think the guy that's playing Paul McCartney was the guy that was in Gladiator.
Paul Mescal.
Yeah. And then one of them is the guy from A Quiet Place Day 1. I think he's Ringo Starr. I can't remember honestly.
Joseph Quinn.
Right. So it's and Sam Mendes is behind it.
Andy, do you think that's too many movies?
Like I'm curious.
I am too, but it seems like...
And it's the Beatles, like probably the most iconic rock band in music history.
If you call that rock.
It is. It is.
It's a little more roll, if you know what I'm saying. It's Lucy in the sky with diamonds. All right, where's the guitar riff? This isn't rock. Give me some Avenged Sevenfold.
I still like the movie that was done way back in the 90s about Stu Sutcliffe called Backbeat. I think that's a great film, and it's definitely gotten lost over the years.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah. And Steven Dorff plays him.
From Dorff on Golf?
No. From the original Blade.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a great movie.
Come on, give me credit for at least knowing what Dorff on Golf is.
Yes.
You got to give me some credit.
Tim Conway, that's a classic.
Yeah, but I'm young, so it's a badge of honor that I know it.
Okay. And then Sony Animation had a movie called Goat coming out next February that is generally animals playing basketball, and they didn't have anything more to show us than like sketches, and the sketches look kind of cool.
Okay.
And like the main character is a goat that's trying to play basketball with all like these big giant animals, and like he's the underdog. And I love underdog stories too, even if they're like kid related. And yeah. And then Warner Brothers 2 showed us like their animation division is coming up with some great stuff, like a brand new Cat in the Hat with Bill Hader is doing the voice of the Cat in the Hat, and it looked really cool. Better than that Mike Myers thing that's just god awful.
The one where he goes, "You dirty hoe."
Yeah.
It's a hoe for gardening. It's very funny. It's very funny. I'm telling you, that movie is a comedy. You wouldn't guess it. You wouldn't guess it from watching it, but it definitely was.
And then they have a new Flintstones animated film in the works coming out too. That looked like they should have.
Now you want to talk about Rock?
Yeah, some of the stuff they showed us is very bits and pieces, and you don't get to see a whole lot, but you get to see enough to get the feel of what it's going to look like when it's done.
Right. Yeah.
And Warner Brothers also has which I'm probably going to make you go see in May because we're probably going to get it, is Final Destination 6.
I'm totally up for that. Totally up for it. Honestly, the Final Destination movies are so stupid, but I also still, if anytime a water bottle even threatens to drop under my brake pedal, I'll open the window and throw the water bottle out. Yeah, just because I'm like, not today. And I'm not driving behind some truck with a bunch of wood on it either. I'm getting off the highway.
This isn't going to be any different because the scene that they showed us was involving an MRI machine and the magnet.
Just let me have cancer. It's fine. I'm not going.
And I was like, yeah, I didn't really want to see it at first because I'm kind of tired with that series. But there's two things with that film. That scene looked so much fun that I'm like, okay, I want to see the other death sequences they have in mind.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, this is Tony Todd's last film that he did before he passed away.
Tony Todd.
And Tony Todd was the guy that played the original Candyman, and he was in the final. He's been throughout the whole Final Destination series.
Yeah.
And the final trailer that came out a couple of weeks ago, it does show him in there, and you could tell that he was not in good shape. Like he's very thin and frail looking, and it's really sad that he passed away. The guy was a good actor.
He was.
And even going back to...
He's so fun. Like, he just has one of those screen presences where you're just like, I enjoy watching him. The voice, yes.
He had an awesome voice. And, he was in the Platoon, which I think is still a great war film.
I saw bits of that when my dad didn't think I was watching.
I saw that with my dad.
All right, well, it's fine. Your dad's cooler. Rub it in.
No, it just like there was something. But all those Vietnam films that came out around like the late 80s, I still think my favorite one was Kubrick's Full Metal Jacket.
I have not seen Full Metal Jacket because everyone tells me it's super hard to watch and depressing. Because that's the one with the that incredible performance from the drill sergeant, right?
Yes, and Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yes, yeah. I really hate when people yell at me like that, so I hate that scene.
Yeah, but there's there's some good stuff that I had read about that where Arlie Emery actually slapped Vincent D'Onofrio during a couple of scenes.
Yeah.
And Vincent D'Onofrio told him, you touch me one more time, I'm going to beat the living heck out of you. And Kubrick just let it go on.
Yeah.
Because Kubrick was a maniac.
Yeah, the man, could he craft a film that would leave a lasting impression? Yes. But it left more of an impression on the cast who never recovered emotionally, spiritually, or physically from the things that he did to them. So I kind of just hate Kubrick movies on principle because I'm like, what a jerk. I don't care. You did not need 174 takes of Shelley Duvall screaming, crying, walking up these stairs backwards with the bat. She probably did it fine on take 2. All you did was try to break her down. And I think he often used a take from really early.
Yeah, but then I still want my time back for watching Eyes Wide Shut. I absolutely hate that film. So Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman.
That was the last one before he passed.
Yeah. And then even the one that Spielberg did in honor of him, AI. I absolutely hate that film, too.
Yeah, we've talked about that before. You have a deep-seated hatred for that.
Oh, yeah, I hate that movie.
And this is from someone who willingly watched Human Centipede 3.
Yes. You'll never let me forget it, will you?
It's so funny to bring up. It's the Human Centipede. It's not my fault. Okay, it's a little my fault because I'm the one doing it.
But believe it or not, I've actually seen things worse than that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Andy...
Serbian film comes to mind.
Yeah, never mind. I'm not even asking. We're going to pray for you now.
I've seen some just bizarre things in my cinematic. A Greek film, too, that comes to mind that I saw at a film festival in Pittsburgh, Singapore Sling, that has S&M stuff, cannibalism, and it's shot in black and white, and it's just utterly disgusting. And I remember when I went to it was a midnight showing, and I think I was one of 5 people that was still left when the movie ended because everybody had walked out.
Now, is it just because you didn't want to look like some sort of sheep, or were you interested in seeing the rest of what was there after you got disgusted the first time?
I wanted to see how it ended. I wanted to see what the payoff at the end of this film was.
Well, did it have a payoff?
Yeah, everybody died except the private investigator that was taken hostage.
Spoilers. No, just kidding. I'm never going to watch this.
I don't even think anybody's able to find this film, let alone watch it.
Because you said the name and I was like, that sounds vaguely familiar. I only heard about this in conjunction with hearing about a Serbian film for the first time.
Yeah.
When I was in 8th grade. I just heard the legends and was like, not for me, thanks. I'll go watch Joseph in his coat of many colors again.
For the longest time, I thought Cannibal Holocaust was an urban legend, that it didn't exist.
Oh, yeah. No, it's real.
Yeah, and then I've actually seen it. Because I went to a metal and horror film festival one year in Austin, and that was 9 o'clock in the morning. I was there because I was like, I gotta see this thing, because it's one of the original like found footage kind of movies.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And like I said, to me, it just seemed like an urban legend because I was never able to find it, never able to see it when I was a teenager, and I was like, people are punking me. Like, this thing doesn't exist. And sure enough, when that popped up on the film schedule, I was like, oh, I'll be there because I need to see this thing. And it's utterly revolting. And I even met the director, who's like this little Italian guy, and he had some great stories about like.
There's nothing scarier than a little Italian man
that makes horror films.
They're very small, but they pack a lot of weird. Inside.
Yeah, well, that also goes with Lucio Fulci and Mario Bava and, the master Dario Argento, who I still like.
Yes,
I love some of it. Yeah. Suspiria is just an amazing horror film to me.
Just such weird little hairy freaks, And
And then the guy that directed Cannibal Holocaust, who's now passed away, his name was Rogerio Deodato, and he was telling these stories about how, like, when the film came out, he put the entire cast in hiding to make them think that they were really killed off.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
He ended up in an Italian court and had to bring everybody out of hiding because he was going to go to jail.
Look, I didn't actually kill them. That was just it was for a bit, okay? It was a gag. It was a goof.
Which, honestly, the people that made the Blair Witch Project should have copied a little bit off of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it would have been a little bit more believable what they were trying to go for. And over the years, I've really grown to hate that film.
Yeah, I think that's the general consensus. It was like, at the time, it was so different and new.
But it's
bad.
2 hours of people walking in the woods and then 5 seconds of something at the end that you're not even sure what you saw.
Yeah.
One person staring at a wall and the other person dropping a camera, hearing screams, and then the movie's over. But I had to sit through 2 hours of people walking through a freaking forest to get to that.
And none of them are actors, and I don't think they had like a full script. They were kind of like ad-libbing the whole time. Well, and it's boring.
They even said, like, they were given a map. They were told the drops that they had to go through to get the pages of the script and get film.
Yeah.
And then it just went from there.
And
I was like, oh, so the filmmakers were lazy to boot.
Yeah. That's how shot on video works.
And that's that, and then it spawned all those Paranormal Activity.
Yeah.
Just... Yeah. I would actually rather watch Cannibal Holocaust again for a found footage film than any of those other ones.
Okay, well, let's not get crazy. Well, speaking of crazy, you want to get into the news I gathered?
Yeah,
not
sure.
too much here. But first off, we just want to say to those of you who are in the Belton area coming to Grand Avenue Theater, thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
And two, thank you for not being as stupid as the rest of the country and throwing popcorn and live chickens in the theater.
Yeah, we really haven't had any craziness like with that. We had some stuff like opening weekend with people throwing things and were immediately ejected.
Nice.
But then...
Hey, if you get new recliners in the theater, will you do me a favor and have a master eject button that you can like point... click on the C and it actually shoots them out through the roof.
Like from Fast and Furious 2, Ejectocito, cuz.
Yep. I would go every week probably just to see if I could get the button to trigger. And just see how high I go.
So I saw that film too, and I took Drew to see it. And unfortunately, like the rest of my family got to see a good movie, and then I had to go see this because it was a film we played for a week called The Friend that I really wanted to play. Mm-hmm. And it's a true story about a writer that inherited a Great Dane from her mentor who ended up killing himself.
Oh.
And it's based on a true story, but nobody came and saw it, and we had to get rid of it after a week, and I didn't get a chance to see it.
Oh.
So I got stuck taking Drew to see Minecraft. And I'll tell you, it's an awful film. It really is. The couple of things I can say nice about it, it's fun watching Jason Momoa not take himself very seriously.
Sure.
But Jack Black has played the same role for like the last 5 movies, and it gets annoying.
Yeah. And it's weird because like in Bernie, he's really good.
Right.
But it seems like he's just like...
Or even School of Rock.
Yeah. Like, and they're completely different characters, but he's just doing the thing. And then like,
but if it wasn't for the kids in the audience that were yelling, screaming, clapping along, and making it very interactive, which is very hard to see anymore.
Yeah.
And it just did my heart good to hear and see all that, even with this crappy movie that I had to sit through.
Well, I think you get more of that with crappy movies.
But it made
especially,
it
the
almost,
room made it like a thing to do.
Right, that it was enjoyable for me to sit through it, even though I didn't like it.
Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad you had a good time.
Yeah.
I would have actually been legitimately angry because I would have been like, shut up. Listen, okay, listen. He's saying something. It's not important because it's a freaking Minecraft movie, but shut up. I'm trying to focus on all the little things I can nitpick.
So the good thing about that too is like all the merch that I had bought for that was sold out on Thursday night.
Because I was going to grab some because I thought this will be around for a long time, and nope, it's all gone.
It's gone.
So now I have a Grand Avenue themed bucket, not bucket, but cup.
The cup.
And I feel quite fancy. It's black with gold lettering. It feels
white lettering.
It's gold in my head. And don't just let me have this. And no, it's good to have that. I didn't know that. With the Grand Avenue's branded popcorn bucket and soda, you can come back and get refills anytime for $2.
Yep,
that's great.
Yeah,
that's fantastic. So
that's my brainchild.
If I love it so much, and I appreciate it very, very, very much, because now
I appreciate that.
I don't have to feel bad that I missed out on Minecraft. But if you want to talk about depressing things, aside from people throwing live chickens, I'm not kidding. This happened.
Yeah,
live chickens
I know.
In the theater.
I've read all the stuff on it.
Sinners is on track to gross $40 million this weekend. Minecraft movie is still on track to earn at least $45. Yeah. It's the most popular movie in the world. And God have mercy on us all.
Doesn't show any signs of slowing down.
I hope it shows some signs of the film stock burning.
At least, it's all digital now. So the best you could hope for is the hard drive corrupting and just crashing.
That one then.
But I'm curious to see what Accountant 2 is going to do next week. Pre-sales for that are real strong.
That surprises me. I would have thought everyone had forgotten about The Accountant.
Normally that's kind of the unwritten rule. Like when you have so much time between sequels, people forget about it and they don't go see this one they're actually showing up for.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. I wonder if that's like if they're seeing that across the board, or if is that just like locally we're seeing that, or
I think so because it won the audience award at South by in Austin.
Really?
Yeah.
A studio movie?
Yeah, not to mention an Amazon MGM movie to boot that we've been making fun of since Red 1 because I went and saw Working Man 2, which another crap movie.
I love your commentary. It's so deep and thoughtful.
But MGM stuff, like they have, The Accountant's really the only thing they have coming out the rest of this year. The stuff they have lined up for next year all looks interesting, but it doesn't come out until next year.
Right, yeah.
So like they showed this film called Mercy with Chris Pratt, directed by Timur Bekmambetov that I really liked, that kind of got shafted after Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. Mm-hmm. So the whole concept of that film is, judge, jury, executioner is all an AI generated thing, and you have an hour and a half to save your own life to not be executed for a crime. Huh. And Chris Pratt is on trial for killing his wife. And he's in this chair. That's generally the death device too.
Yeah.
And he's got an hour and a half to prove his innocence or he's going to get killed. So, and Rebecca Ferguson is the AI judge, and it looks really cool.
Okay.
And then the big one with Ryan Gosling next year, Project Hail Mary.
Yes.
That looks interesting. And then Verite, the new Colleen Hoover book, which my wife just finished and said it was amazing.
She gave us a really good rundown of she gave us not just a rundown of what it was about, but ended her explanation on a cliffhanger, and I was just like, "You son of a gun, I'm in."
Oh,
like,
that's
she did such a good job.
I forgot to mention that too. Housemaid is probably going to be a big Christmas film with Sydney Sweeney and Amanda Seyfried.
Yeah,
another suspense thriller that looks pretty. And I don't like Sydney Sweeney at all, and I make no bones about that. But this actually looks pretty good.
Well, there's only one way to find out. Wait a really long time and then watch it.
Well,
so Netflix's co-CEO Ted Sarandos, you've heard of this guy, right?
Sure.
So he heard that James Cameron was talking about AI making movies 50% cheaper, and he said, "I read what Jim Cameron said about that. I remain convinced that there's an even bigger opportunity to make movies 10% better." He said, this is what he said. "So our talent today is using AI tools to do set references, previs, VFX, sequence prep, shot planning, all kinds of things today that kind of make the process better. Traditionally, only big budget projects would have access to things like advanced visual effects, such as de-aging. Today, you can use these AI-powered tools to enable smaller budget projects to have access to big VFX on screen." Okay.
So he's going to put people out of jobs.
The thing is, this may be the one time that AI actually is useful, is, like that tech being able to work on smaller budget stuff. That's great. I love access to tools.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. But, like previs and stuff, shot planning, I don't know why I would need an AI to do my shot planning. I think that's the director's job.
Well, isn't it the continuity director and all the storyboarding and all that stuff too?
Well,
right?
the shot planning, the continuity director and stuff is normally like during the process of filming, but the director, in tandem with the cinematographer and some of the executive producers that they're really involved in it, would be sitting there going like, here's this shot and why I want to do it. And AI can spit out a list and be like, you need a medium, a wide, and a close-up, blah, 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 blah. I'm a computer. And it's fine, great, that's basic coverage rules, but it can't understand intent.
What happened to just looking through a lens and like seeing everything and kind of framing it out?
Now, what you're describing is making art. And this is Netflix. I think we got off track.
Oh, how foolish of me.
He says we could make movies 10% better. I'm like, that's not a big deal when you've made it 95% worse. You understand you're still only at 15% of where we were before the Netflix garbage flooded the market with stuff you can watch as a second screen. Why is my big TV, the biggest screen I have, the one I'm not looking at? That's stupid.
Yeah.
So anyway, AI is bad. Ted Sarandos is out of his mind. Anakin will be back for season 2 of Ahsoka. Hayden Christensen's coming back.
Who cares?
It's wrong, but me. Ryan Coogler says that the X-Files reboot will be his next project.
Ooh.
So we talked about this earlier. Yeah, it said he's spoken with Gillian Anderson. He said, I'm working on X-Files.
What about David Duchovny?
Don't know.
He's not doing anything.
Yeah, Californication's over.
Yeah.
For a long time
So what's
now.
his excuse?
He's tired. Maybe he has bonitis.
Hack.
That's Eli Roth. All right, let's save the insults for where they're necessary. He said, "I'm working on X-Files," said Coogler on the last podcast on the left. That's what's immediately next. I've been excited about that one for a long time, and I'm fired up to get back to it.
That's cool.
Yeah. He said, some of those episodes, if we do our jobs right, will be really effing scary.
I'm already like reserving our tickets.
Well, it's going to be a series. It won't be. Yeah, it won't be a film.
Movie? Oh, okay.
Yeah, as far as I'm understanding. But yeah, he said the original series had Gillian Anderson, and he said when I spoke to her, she was finishing Tron Ares up. But yeah, we're going to try and make something really great and really be something for the real X-Files fans. You know what I'm saying? And maybe find some new ones. So
cool.
This has made me interested. I've always heard about the X-Files, but never really went back and watched it because it was kind of like
I kind of watched the first season and then just stopped for really no good reason. But I saw both of the films.
Yeah,
and both of the movies I really liked.
There are some diehard fanatics out there.
Man, that
really love the X-Files.
Yeah.
So. Star Wars Starfighter.
Yes,
Sean Levy's going to be directing this. Yep. Ryan Gosling has signed on as the lead in this, which I'm totally down with. And you mentioned right before we started recording, I think, that Mickey Madison. Why do I keep wanting to say Mikey?
From Anora.
It looks like Mikey. It's Mikey.
It's Mickey.
It's so
the rumor is that she's supposed to be in this too.
She passed on it.
Oh, she did?
Yeah, so I found this while I was looking through stuff. Snyder added that Levy Star Wars movies currently casting the lead role, which is a 15-year-old boy, as well as the boy's mother plus 2 villains. But Madison was considering an offer to star in Zach Kreger's Resident Evil movie. Zach Kreger's making a Resident Evil movie?
Yeah, not thrilled about that.
Well, video game movies aren't meant to be good. We know that.
None of the other Resident Evil films are good either.
Exactly. So they're keeping up the quota by getting Zach Kreger on.
His new film looks bizarre, too. Weapons. It looks really strange.
I haven't even heard of that. Yeah. But yeah, she's passed on Star Wars, which means Resident Evil could be her next project. So
you pass on Star Wars and never mind. Who's your agent? Seriously.
I mean, maybe she just doesn't like Star Wars. You know, there's people out there who are wrong.
Yeah, my son.
The original Star Wars trilogy and I'm going to defend the sequel trilogy based entirely on the complicated nature of Darth Sidious's plot and the execution of it being really good when it all comes together to Episode 3. And you said that Episode 3 is coming to Grand Avenue, and I will be there every day.
Next Thursday.
Every day.
Tubs and cups we will have.
Yes!
But it only runs for 6 days.
Yes, I actually have to show up.
Yeah, and that's not just at our theater, that's nationwide. So Episode 3 will only run for 6 days because it's going to run right into Thunderbolts.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, me too.
I
saw it in a theater when it first came out.
It was the first Star Wars movie I ever got to see in theaters, and I kid you not, I cried. I cried when he got his arms and legs cut off.
Dark movie,
man. It's heartbreaking.
It's awesome.
Though. It's the best space opera ever.
Yeah.
Anyway, Aladdin, the Monkey's Paw, is a dark supernatural reimagining of the Aladdin story. So that's happening.
Okay.
So this is, like with Winnie the Pooh and Popeye the Sailor Man and all these things.
Oh, no.
Coming our way from Empire Studios, Every Entertainment, and Eighth Law Pictures.
Or what the ones I dug up, Bambi the Reckoning. And Pinocchio Unstrung. And there's like walking around like the Caesar's Palace in Vegas, and like everybody's advertising all their films, and those are the ones that I came up. I almost took pictures and sent them to you. I should have.
I wish you would have.
Because I was like, so
what's an old property that hasn't been made into a horror movie yet? I want to see if I can just come up on the fly with a good title for a horror film.
Popeye the Slayer Man is on Apple.
Oh, is it really?
We have to pay to rent it, but it is available for us to stream.
We did say we would do this to ourselves.
I say if we're going to do that, we wait till summer, set up the theater in my backyard, and just really have some fun with that.
Yes, absolutely. Like we need popcorn, the whole 9 yards. We got to really
because it just looks so bad.
I can't believe we're going to do this, but I know we will.
Yeah.
Here's the synopsis for this one. A modern-day Londoner, Aladdin, inherits an ancient monkey's paw, believed to grant wishes, only to discover that every desire comes at a soul-crushing price. As those around him fall victim to its curse, he must confront a growing evil and the demonic force that feeds on every wish made.
They've already done that. It's a movie called Wishmaster.
Yeah, and it was bad.
Yeah.
And this will be bad.
There's a bunch of sequels to that thing, too.
This is bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's already been done.
It's also not Aladdin?
It's already been done.
Like Aladdin had a genie. Not a monkey's... stupid. Apparently, there's a really good movie called The Ugly Stepsister that's a body horror Cinderella stepsister story.
Very limited release.
So, are you interested in this?
Yeah, actually, I am.
Why am I? I shouldn't be, but...
You're the last person I'd recommend a body horror film to.
And yet...
Although I did recommend The Substance to you, which is definitely a body horror film.
I do want to see The Substance.
Substance was really good.
All right. Anything else? Oh, yes. One thing we can actually celebrate, because most of this news has been bad.
Okay.
One thing we can actually celebrate. The Board of Governors of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences announced on April 12th that they are introducing an Oscar category to finally recognize stunts.
Oh, cool.
And I just...
Yeah, here.
Finally. Took you freaking long enough. But yeah, good stuff. So yeah, because stunts like is just as technical and more dangerous than anything else that is done on a set that people get praised for. And this is well deserved.
Even like the movie that Drew and I saw last night, we went and saw Drop.
Yeah.
Which wasn't bad.
Okay.
It's fun.
It's a killer who's like airdropping instructions to people to do stuff.
It's just one woman that's on her first date.
Oh.
And just my wife got mad because I figured out who it was before she did. But Drew was on the edge of his seat. Like, he was engrossed in that film. Like, yeah, you have no idea.
Okay. So a movie that you actually thought was all right and Drew liked it.
Yeah.
Progress is
It's probably one of the better Blumhouse things that I've seen.
Cool. Yeah, I really wanted to go see it.
Yeah,
but we
stood me up again.
It's not on purpose. I just have bad luck.
Worth mentioning too, The Amateur. Amateur is really good.
Oh, too. Yes. I'm sad I missed The Amateur too.
Yeah, that was good.
Because it's not... Is it still showing?
Yeah, it's still showing.
I might see if I can find it.
It's kind of on the so we're kind of praying for it to drop off a cliff this weekend so we can get Until Dawn next week.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the new David S. Sandberg film.
But if it holds, then we can't get until maybe Rob can work his magic and figure out how to squeeze it in there.
Do a halfy?
Well, or I'm sure after this weekend, King of Kings is going to go in the toilet.
Probably.
Because, obviously they hyped this to be a big Easter film, and then after Easter's done, it's pretty much over.
Yeah, everyone only cares about God for 3 days out of the year. That's pretty much how it works.
It's Angel Studios, so they're pretty flexible. So
yeah.
I have a feeling we'll be able to work something out. But the big thing was, I don't care how you do it, but we're playing episode 3.
And that's why I will always call you a brother.
Because once again, if I want to see it on a big screen, other people and doing special ticketing for that too. It's just $5.50 all shows.
Oh,
all
wow,
times. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Because in my eyes, it's a repertoire title.
Yeah.
So I don't believe in charging full price for that. Not to mention Disney will take 65%. So,
that's too much.
Yeah.
They already got money from it.
Oh, I know.
Dadgummit,
so
Disney.
I'm keeping the ticket price low on that title.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I encourage everyone to go check out episode 3 in theaters. If you didn't get to see that before, take your kids, man. If they like Star Wars, it's the best one to see.
So the stuff that I got, is a plastic 44-ounce cup, and then a 130-ounce metal popcorn tin that has
of the metal.
If you tins. At the bottom of your popcorn, you see the first. Oh, the Empire symbol at the bottom of the bucket.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's kind of neat.
I need it. I need it.
I'll make sure you get one.
Thank you, because I will be buying it.
Yeah.
I need it.
I'll make sure I just screwed up. I thought I ordered the Darth Vader drink heads, and I checked with our supplier for that. Mm-hmm. Golden Link, Randy, who's an awesome human being. I love working with her. She was like, I don't see it on. She's like, can you double check that? Because you didn't put it on your order guide. And I looked, I'm like,
Dadgummit.
She's right. I was like, is there any? She's like, no, they're gone.
Yeah.
I was like, but she's like, well, look, if we find one in the warehouse, I'll make sure you get one.
Sweet.
Like, but I'm not holding my breath on that. But we'll at least have the tubs and the cups.
Just call her back and say, look, Randy, I don't need to know if you find one in the warehouse, take that home. It's for you. I just need to know where the trucks are going and when they're going.
Well, she's supposed to send me one of the monkey popcorn buckets that AMC got. Because they were the ones behind that. Like, it looks like the monkey.
The monkey, yeah.
And I really wanted one.
I think that the popcorn bucket they should have done for the monkey is just a half of a leg. And then, so she got us a different design too for the Thunderbolts tubs and cups that we're going to have. Oh, cool. Yeah.
So it's going to be different than what other people have.
Nice.
So just because I'm a nice business person, I guess. And I'm always very patient and everything with our suppliers, who I love to death.
Yeah.
They're good people.
I gotta say, man, there are some times I look at you, I'm just like, that guy really knows what he's doing. And then you show me movies like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I wonder, is he really that? on top of things. I don't know.
It's a difference of taste and opinion.
I know.
I'm entitled to that as well.
You're entitled to it. That doesn't make it right. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. No, I'm just kidding. All righty. Well, Andy, thank you so much for your time tonight. This has been nice.
Thank you.
We had a good time.
Yeah.
We hope that you, dear listener, also had a good time. Remember, you can always reach out to us on Facebook or Instagram at Grand Review Pod. And then if you're listening on Spotify, there'll be a poll that you can answer and let us know what you thought of Sinners. Good, bad, great, terrible. Remember, those ratings are not for what you think of us. We don't want to know, but we
don't get a kickback on that, so we don't care what you think.
We just if you have
no, that's not true.
If you feel strongly that something is bad, let it be the movie and tell us about that.
Because we already know we're bad.
Yes.
When saying that, well, you two are just the worst hosts. Yeah, we know this. That's why we.
But why are you hearing this part? Why didn't you leave an hour ago?
So my whole thing is, well, who forced you at the gunpoint to listen to the entire episode?
Actually, that would be me.
Okay.
That's how I get us listeners.
Okay.
His gun's not loaded, but I'm not gonna. Oh shoot! Now they know. Well, there goes our listenership, and I guess here goes us, which means there's only one thing left to say, and that is, we'll see you at the movies. Bye.
Bye, y'all.